morning. It is October the 30th, 2019, and this is the 24 hours of Bitcoin. This is a new stream set up for me, so I'm just checking all of this out. I'd like you to give me your feedback and let me know how it's turning out for you. Do you hear an echo? Good morning, Chrome. Good to have you along. Let's do this little pre-roll animation. Yay! And of course, this isn't trading advice. This is just market observation. Look at that. The chat is working along the side. We've got a viewer count. We've got the newest subscriber showing up and the latest super chat as well. Let's jump into the stream. Hey, I love it. It's working. It's going. You can barely hear my voice. All right. Let me crank that up. That's like it. Maybe I can change my gains. I hear the music was very loud, but the voice isn't. I'll get that set up. Let me know if I'm too loud now, because it's loud in my voice, but I can turn that down. Loud in my ear. Alrighty, so we got Ermi, Emir, good to have you along. I butchered that. Joseph, good to have you here. Finally, your voice. I really find your voice still low. Okay, I've had that a number of different people. Let me find the microphone volume is at 100%. Monitor and output's good. Okay, I don't know. It's not loud and clear. All right, so I've got it cranked up here. Let me change the gain again. That's about, that's even getting good. Okay, I'm glad to hear the sound is good. Some people do say the sound is really soft, and maybe headphones will help. But if I go any louder than this, then it's distorting. And I always hated distorted sound. You know, people cranking their music up too loud and then it distorts and they sound cool. Anyway, let's dive through our indicator set here. This is the weekly view of Bitcoin RSI. It has pulled back a little bit, and I'm going to grab a drawing tool. As we go through this week, we're going to watch to see what's happening with this angle of this candle. If it is continuing to slope down, I think we're going to pull back more. And yet the weekly, at the beginning of the week, we know that it doesn't have as much juice, it doesn't have as much power. This is pretty overbought, but it's still along the trend line. So I'm really watching these exhaustion wicks, just like we had exhaustion wicks over here. And I'm expecting that this is a top formation, that we're going to be coming down. And I'm trying to prove it otherwise to myself now, and to say that I'm wrong and that it's going to be continuing to go up. And there's no way to know, but I want to mark all of the indicators as this is happening, because it really looks like a top formation to me. It looks like we're getting divergence in the RSI, and yet right at this point, as we get in there and zoomed in, we're seeing that it may not be a top formation. And in fact, it may be the bamboo, I don't know what to call it. It's when you pull that branch back and then you let go of it and it snaps forward. It seems like it's building up that launch, that pre-launch spring, before it's going to be jumping up. So even though we've had these exhaustion wicks, it seems to be staging from here to be springing up from this indicator. So as I'm zooming in now, this is what I'll use for confirming, is this very small wedge along with the price pattern. So we have a double wedge here, and that if the RSI is breaking below this wedge as prices are going, that's more confirmation than we've had all the way along here. The RSI has bounced and rejected it and rejected it and rejected it. And so if it continues to bounce up out of this territory as we're just coming off this skinny little range, I'm going to take that as a really bullish signal. Like right in these very small ranges, we've come to such a great point that I can't wait to see the other indicators now, to see what they are telling us. So let's go into the on-balance volume from the weekly view. We need this juice to pick up again. If this is going to be the bull market, we need this juice to pull up. We go into the 1 day view. I will double check the sound settings, Emery, but this is it. That's like This is maxed out on everything that I can do here. And I've got my whiskers on the microphone. Now, the reason I'm thinking this is a top formation is because we have the higher volume here and lesser volume as we're moving along, which would say that the bulls are running out of a bit of steam. But let's zoom into the 4-hour time frame because that sort of still confirms it. We have the volume here, grab a tool here, grab a tool again. We have the good volume, we have less volume on the second top, and these are both exhaustion wicks, and then we're down to this like overall selling volume. So I want to be bearish on this, and yet the RSI is not telling me that. The RSI is telling me to get ready. And this is dumping, 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 dumping. Nothing, no evidence here of it going to be breaking out. In fact, this is more evidence of it losing steam and that it's going to be dumping, right? That we've got all sorts of little bit of selling going on, and then there's going to be that one that breaks the camel's back basically, and then down we go, and all of the bots follow it. And all the stop losses get hit and on and on. Now the weekly MACD indicator, I'm going to be a little bit more reserved on this until we get to Saturday and Sunday. It's pulling back. Let's go into the daily. I like that this is crossed positive. Like overall, this is a very bullish divergence that has stayed bullish. Even though we've come up to this area, it hasn't yet crossed to the negative to tell me that this is a bounce and that we're coming back down. But this will be the evidence of failure to the upside of this crossing. And so now on the 1-day view, I want to go into the 12-hour time frame. And on the 12-hour time frame, I'm looking for the same thing. I'm watching for this to cross to the negative or hold itself together. And the 4-hour has already crossed to the negative at the 1, 2, 3 top formation, which generally is bearish. Generally, the 4-hour crossing inside the 1, 2, 3 top is very bearish. But we've seen in other examples that the 4-hour can do the wave on the way up. It does the wave all the way up. And this could be part of that bigger wave because the 12-hour hasn't crossed negative yet. So this has to either pull the 12-hour negative and we break down below this, or we're going to zoom into the 1-hour time frame and this will cross to the positive and it'll drag the 4-hour cross to the positive and it'll hold the 12-hour cross to the positive. So while we're in the middle here, we're really shopping for what are the indicators that are going to give us the notice on one side or the other of this trade. Which is only half the trade, and the other half of your whole trading plan has to be your risk control rules. And if you don't have those so that you can state your risk control rules up front before you start trading, if you don't know your exit strategy before you get onto the freeway, you're probably going to get run over. So right now, it actually looks like that if this 1-hour flares negative as we're watching, or anytime, then that's another confirmation of it going down. So here on the 15 minute, we can get the wave off in this. Now that it's come down and crossing negative as we're breaking these areas, that's the sell signal as we're unfolding. And we can see this go. Now I'll have to go back and see what the RSI was doing. It's freaky because there's so many reversals at this point that you can't jump in full size. You just got to go small and then add on to it later. There will be time for it if you're correct. So we'll tune into this a little bit later to see, is this going to continue pulling positive and drag us up above these levels? Like all the indicators are giving us really clear spots here today on this technical level. I like to have moments like this in the chart. It lets you be able to make a decision. You can take all of these things together and decide. Oh, I gotta go back. Just for the weekly view, just for the record, the blue line is below the red line. Been watching this one for months, actually calling for this low from way back in July. We got down to the first one, and I'm still kind of conspiracy theory thinking we're going to hit another one. And we'll take a look at Bitcoin longs and shorts here in a second. That's awesome. Let's zoom in now. On the 1-day view, this was bearish all the way along, and we've been monitoring it, commenting on it that it was much the same as this long before the break happened. Now, I don't know, but we have to zoom into the closer time frames to see, is this a sell signal in the downtrend? If the blue line crosses below the red line as we're coming down below these levels, oh yeah, that's a sell signal in the downtrend, and the Ichimoku is famous for this sell signal in the downtrend. It may look like a bull breakout and that it's going to go up to 16K or whatever, but not according to Ichimoku on the daily, not yet. So let's go into the 12 hour. It has broken up above on the 12-hour time frame, and this is all positive. That's really good. The blue is above the red, the twist to the positive. So we'll see if it can hold on the closer time frames, because I don't know. Let's zoom in, and on the 4-hour time frame, we are seeing a cross to the negative with the blue line. Now on this time frame, the Ichimoku could be giving us a buy signal in the uptrend, bouncing off the cloud and going up. Really uncertain, really got to watch it and see what plays out from here. Now, I just want to record all these indicators, because this this time frame, the 1-hour time frame, is bearish. It's already crossed negative. It's gone through the cloud. We have the blue is just going below the red. The green trailing indicator has gone through everything. We're sitting at the bottom of a 1, 2, 3 within a larger 1, 2, 3. So for me, this is all sell signals setting up that you'd want to feather into this and then add on if it is continuing to go down. This should stream narrow, and this should follow along with as the prices are breaking these levels, should we break them. Let's go in now, because I want to come back later and see the RSI to see what it's doing. Let's zoom in. Still negative, negative. Look, the bulls that are long are begging for the reversal. Let's go see what the Bollinger Bands are telling us, because it's bouncing off of this level up to the midline of the Bollinger Band on the weekly. On the daily time frame, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I've got the wrong candles here. Let's do the same candles as everything else. 1, 2, 3, 4 days at this level. It's bouncing off the top of the range for the bands on the 12-hour time frame, and in the 4-hour time frame, we've come through the 1, 2, 3 top. We've gone past the midline down to the bottom. Let's zoom in to see how narrow this gets, because we're getting very narrow, which means that there's going to be a large move coming soon. Some of the people who are giving me tips on the Bollinger Bands are telling me that the 4-hour is probably the most significant if you're going to do mean reversion trading. And I do trend trading. Mean reversion is a completely different approach, and I'm keen to learn it, because you can't just play blues all the time. You may want to play some different kind of music. And if it gives me insight for trading in a different pattern while I'm holding my longs and my trend tradings, I want to know that. So this is looking for prices to always spring back to the average, because they oscillate most of the time and they trend some of the time. So part of your position could be for the trend, part of it could be just jumping in and out of the oscillations, just as a trading methodology. Now, this is the most important thing for me right now, is this setup and the potential for the divergence right here. Other than that, it is a sell signal setup. Now let's go back to the RSI and see what's going on with this on this time frame. Way back, this is where I'm watching for the spring effect or the drop from here. And it stayed in the middle. It's not giving us any indication, even though we just had that little pushback. This didn't break. So it's right on the edge of nowhere here. Crazy. Now let me head back to the chat, because I've gone through pretty much the analysis that I like to do every day, just for my own part, so that I can come back in a year from now, rewatch this video, and I can put these together into lessons. The more that I can put into case studies, the more examples we can have of how this trading system works. I love it. I can just edit these together, and I edit them together over time and pull out the good stuff. Now, this is Bitcoin dominance, and I was expecting that this was a bull flag, that it's going to flag down, and then as Bitcoin takes off, this is going to drive back up one more run. And yet it's slipping down out of this. Now this is, for me, the best dream would be Bitcoin going up, Bitcoin dominance slipping back. because that would mean altcoins are going up faster than Bitcoin. That would be awesome. Like March to July of 2017, the big days. Now let's go into what I was watching for in my conspiracy theory is that the longs would get wrecked. Let me go to the 4-hour time frame so I can pull this back far enough. So we've got Bitcoin, two identical charts of Bitcoin up top. Then I've got the longs and I've got the shorts down below. And if I zoom this back, I was expecting, get the right time frame so they match, pull this back, the right time frame so they match, all the way back to July. So what I'm looking for is the July and August highs, where we had very high numbers of longs here in July and in August. And I was expecting that even though we were getting up to these levels here, we would have a similar level of longs and then they would be punished. And we would have all sorts of longs liquidated through just straight old market manipulation. And I'm anticipating that we'll come back to the $5,800 level, which will be hell for holders, for long traders. And that at this point, we're going to get the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and come up. And it's complete conspiracy theory. I was expecting that the longs would be driven up higher than this before the break, but they've been dropping off here. So this page is always hard to draw on because I can't just quickly clear it. So now let me go into the 1-hour view again and zoom back in on this. Zoom in. And what I want to point out here on the 1-hour time frame, if I zoom in on this, the number of longs have been dropping off significantly through this period. While we've been floating sideways, the longs have been dropping off and dropping off. And I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting them to be dropping off until we got hammered. And so as I'm watching this drop off and the prices are going sideways, I'm going, what's going on? Like everybody's all getting bearish now, so they're closing their longs. Well, then it's going to go up. Right? Every time the longs get down to crazy low levels and everybody's closed out of their longs, it seems to be the place where would have been the best place to buy. So with these longs coming down, I'm going scratch, scratch, scratch. I'm flipping and I'm trying to look for the bullish indicators in this. So you give me input if you've got some ideas about what this means with the Bitcoin longs dropping off as we're going sideways. Well, we'll see in the next few days that if this breaks really low, then all of these longs really knew it ahead of time, which is unusual, I would have to say. So good morning, Mick. Good to have you here. Assholes man, good to have you along again. Too many people expecting 5,800. Well, I don't know if other people are expecting 5,800. I actually don't watch a lot of other videos, and I do need to because other people are doing videos that really kick my ass in terms of viewership. So I got to learn from them for sure. Now let me scroll back up in the chat. Pardon me. Scroll back up in the chat so we can see. Hopefully the sound is doing good. And Emery is the only one having trouble, but I've heard this a number of times that it's too soft and I keep cranking it up, but yeah, see Aaron H is distorting. 2012 Reggae Man is on a phone. Okay, Emery, I'll see you. Compared to other channels, it's really low. One last pop. Anyway, the sound is a bit gained in some EQ, I guess. Hopefully the sound is working out because this is it. This is all I can do for my sound. Yeah, and I've got a good mic. It's the same good mic that I see everybody else using. So BTC longs versus short is the best indicator. Exchanges want to make money. Really can't really be short-term bearish until we break 8,800 or 8,700. Just wanted to know how to handle trading. Let me go with this one here. So Dreams 7 times says, I just wanted to know how to handle trading or just holdings in my life with these prices fluctuations. Do you check prices all day, for example, just this time of the day? There are a number of ways to approach trading, and actually my best profitable way, the way that I actually trade rather than doing this technical analysis, is based on this bull market watch spreadsheet. And it is a very basic approach to the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and trend following for the altcoins. And so I do a diversified portfolio across almost all of the alts, depending on which ones are taking off. I buy into the ones that are turning from yellow to green, and I sell out when they turn blue. Simple. So I follow this spreadsheet and I load up on the ones that are taking off, and I just ignore all the ones that are laying flat. And over time, this really gets me into the market at the right times. And the best thing is it gets me out when those top formations are, whenever they are, it doesn't matter. This money is in there for the long term. I don't care. I'm never moving it out. It's just going to keep growing or shrinking, whatever. But it just stays there. So then it's comfortable for me to fold into the crypto portfolio and unfold it like an accordion. As the market says I should be getting in, I get in. As the market says I should be getting out, I get out. So it's either in Bitcoin, sitting there waiting to go into altcoin, or when it's the right time, it moves into altcoin and then back into Bitcoin. And I don't pay attention to the price fluctuations of the entire market so as much. I'm trying to grow my number of Bitcoin overall. And so with this platform, this method, I take about 10 minutes a day and I am done my trading. I can monitor all 200 different currencies. On the busy days, I do have to spend a few hours going through and updating things as things are unfolding or shutting down. But for the most part, for my own trading, I'm an investor. I'm a position investor, not a day trader. I don't like doing the swing trades. I don't like trying to do the short-term stuff. I always get burned. I'm jumping in and out. I spend too much time at it. It makes me tense. I don't like that method of trading. It doesn't work for me. So this is why I think that the bull market watch spreadsheet is probably the best investment you could make for yourself if you wanted to have a slower, longer term approach to cryptocurrency trading that takes less time every day. This is the best investment you can make, to have me working for you to update that all the time. Then you'll know where to put your money into the alts and when to take them out. So sometimes I'll short Bitcoin, but I rarely sell out of Bitcoin to stable coin. Rarely. I'll move it into alts or back into Bitcoin, and sometimes I short Bitcoin. Like, so I'm watching this to put on a small short, and it's mostly just a hedge against my entire position. Not really that I'm trying to make money while it's going down. I'm just trying to lose less by taking a short position against the rest of my portfolio. So be sure to go over to the website Dreams 7 times and go and download the free training. There's a free webinar down at the bottom. Put your email address in, and that will give you the trading plan that I go over, and it'll also give you some insight into the 5 stages of managing a trade. So it's not just about technical analysis and where your entries and exits are, but the whole process of managing a trade from stage 1, which is what I help you with, is planning out the trade, identifying which ones could be the good trades. And then stage 2 is when it first gets activated into a real hold. Then stage 3 and stage 4 and 5 of the trade, and what to do to wrap up afterwards. Because successful trading takes more than just getting in and getting out. There's some organizing to do to manage it and to track it so that you can be correcting your own analysis as well, right? You need to analyze the analysis, because the analysis is actually pretty easy, but the analyst is always the problem. You are always like, I can tell you my trading plan, you can agree, you can nod your head, you can tell it to another friend, and that friend can come over and tell me the trading plan. It'll be the same thing. It's that clear. We can each tell each other the trading plan. We're all clear on it, but each of us trading that plan is the weak point in the trading. Part of the reason I did these live streams is so that I could analyze my own analysis and improve my own trading. So let me see, we got Steven along as well. That's my first time seeing you here. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I've got this new setup here where we'll see the newest subscriber updated live stream as we're going. So I'd be grateful to see that tested. Shorter volume is more or less than longs. I think you were doing great. No 5800. Well, we don't, I don't know, it's my conspiracy theory. And since I had the conspiracy theory, I want to put it out there and then I want to measure the charts. I want to see what happens with the indicators as my conspiracy theory is proven or disproven. Right now, it's looking pretty weak, and breaks below this level are pretty enticing. Always start off wicked small on this because of the number of hammer reversals we've had here. It could be the one that breaks and really starts to go, so you want to be prepared for it, and maybe a very small position. And then if it does go, you've made a little bit of it. But it goes and then pulls back so hard and so fast that you just can't jump into this on a big trade. Aaron H. dumping. Here's my chance. We may never see lower prices. One more time buyer. Timing is everything, and I don't try to catch it as it's going down as though this is the low and it's not going any lower. I try to catch it as it's going up. Or if it's going down, I want to catch this as a short. I don't want to be trying to catch a knife as a long on the way down. Out of a 1, 2, 3 top, I have a hard enough time picking the entries, never mind knowing that this is the bottom and it's going to go the other way. So here we go, breaking as we're talking. Let's zoom into the 1 minute bar. And I want to jump over to the on balance volume because we can see now at our time frame that the MACD, or the relative strength index, is doing exactly what we're watching for. A break below these levels as it's happening. Now I want to go and check out the volume. So we were having this piddle of volume selling all the way along. It wasn't looking like buying, and now we're getting a little bit more at the tip. Let's zoom in on this to see what it's like. Because as we had the last one, it was a spike of selling and then it returned to buying right away. This doesn't look as good. We've had selling as it's coming back down to these levels. There's our reversal. 1 minute bar, here we come. So this is for entertainment purpose to watch this right at the edge, and this is where stage 2 of the trade would be. So stage 1, we identified if this indicator crosses this level and the price drops here, then I would be starting to scale into my trade. So this is stage 2 of the trade. Say I did actually go short. Now I'm managing risk control. As soon as I get in here, it's like, hitting the power on that airplane as I'm going down the runway before I've actually taken off. That's stage 2 of the trade. As I just put it on, now I'm managing, do I keep it or do I abort this takeoff? So now that if I had gone short and it is fading off like this, I can decide to be keeping it and be watching for stage 3 of the trade where I get my stop just below my entry. If this was a long, of course, I'd want my stop above my entry. And then once it's past stage 3 of the trade and I've successfully got my stop down below my entry, now my job is done. I've identified where the trade is. I've taken the action to get into the trade. I've monitored it to be sure that I want to stay in the trade as it's taken off. I've gotten myself so that my stop loss is just below my entry. Now my job is finished and it's up to the market. And I don't know how far it's going to go. And so I don't try to decide what the market is going to do. Once I've got my stop below my entry, now I leave it up to the market to tell me how far it's going. And of course, we'll watch for the 1, 2, 3 reversal formation on the other side when this comes down. The first thing I'll do is look for the 50% level of the most recent move, just for basics. And then I'm watching for it to come to this 50% level, maybe the 38.2 level. And that's where I'll watch for it to make another 1, 2, 3 and reverse. So we'll watch for our indicators now to give us some divergences out of these levels. Let's go to the MACD has crossed to the negative as we're going. So this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. Now, if I had gotten into a trade and I put my stop loss just below my entry, I've protected myself, I've protected my equity, my trade is in place, and now if it's proving me correct, I'm good. I can just sit, my job is done. So it's awesome to have this actually unfold as we're going. I'll snip this out, no doubt, as a separate lesson, because look at this cross as it's wavering sideways or breaking this 1, 2, 3, and it's crossing below. This is exactly the flaring wider that we were looking for on this time frame. And on the 4-hour time frame, it is continuing, right? So this cross on the 4-hour out of this 1, 2, 3 top is just another case study example of awesome. The 12-hour hasn't crossed yet. So let's see what goes on with the 12-hour, and we'll have to see what's going on with the 1 day, because we're still not done into my conspiracy theory fully. It really has to come back a lot more than this. And I've got to see this crossing to the negative as we're coming back here. If we're coming back here and this is starting to fail to the negative, then we know that this has got some juice and we're probably going to be hitting down. And the reason I say that $5,800 level, if I go to the 1 day view and draw this all the way back and go to the logarithmic view, this is what caught my eye on it the first time. Is doing a super long-term trend line and saying, wow, if this trend line is the juice that it may be, then we should come back to it eventually, one way or another. Either we go sideways until we hit it and then we go, or we take a big dip back and bounce off it and then we go. And then we're going to be hitting to new highs. And that's my conspiracy theory. I don't know. We'll see. And you tell me, because right now we have a really good strong divergence to the positive as this is setting up. So it could be that we're just going to come down here and this will be our trend line that we're bouncing off of, rather than this trend line here all the way along. And that little split makes quite a big difference in where the price can go. And I don't know, I'm just doing the conspiracy theory so that we can watch it over time. Now let's zoom in to see what's going on. Is this going to be giving us a reversal? If I had gotten into my short and I was vigilant on it and put my stop just below my entry, I'm protected and it can do that and I'm ready for it. It'll be a pain in the butt, but it's better than it coming back up and it turning the nice short into a loss. And it does that too often to not protect yourself against it. We also just had a death cross that you shouldn't forget about. Honestly, for those that are waiting to buy, I wouldn't wait too much. I did the same with 5K. Yeah, but you got to have a plan as to when you buy and why, right? You've got to have that chart pattern that you're looking for as a style. And so that's the most important thing, is you've got to have your own specific, what are you going to do when you buy? What are you going to do when you sell? It doesn't really matter what the system is. You really could flip a coin. I'm going to go long if it's heads, short if it's tails. I'll hold it if it proves me right, and I'll add on to it. I'll get rid of it in 30 minutes if it doesn't prove me right. Over time, you're going to win. You're going to make money, and it's not that hard. But Rick, good to have you along. Thanks for signing in. So pretty cool to see this going down. I love it that we were able to talk through the stage of actually putting on the trade and the process of it, rather than just going through and saying if then the other thing. But we actually had a break while we are online and doing this live. That's phenomenal. So if you're liking this analysis, you know the drill. Hit the thumbs up button. It does support the channel. It gets the word out there. If you like this channel and you'd say it should have more viewers, this is good technical analysis, I think more people should see it. Hit the subscribe button. YouTube pays attention to those metrics, and then more people get showed the thumbnail, more people get a chance to view the channel, more people coming over to our Discord chat, more people are asking questions about the 1, 2, 3 bottoms, the 1, 2, 3 tops, and there's just more for everybody. So help me get the word out there on this methodology. I would be most grateful. Let's go back to Bitcoin dominance, because I watch this to see what is going on with the altcoins as Bitcoin is taking off. Because let's just quickly go and take a look at this. I was watching this to be a potential bear flag all the way along, and it just kept chugging up a little bit higher, and now we have the break of the RSI trend line. BCH ABC flagging RSI. I wasn't expecting that while Bitcoin is softening off. EOS. Oh, got a sharp pullback there while Bitcoin is dipping. What's the deal with that? But I don't like the sharp break of the RSI, that we had this trend line that is breaking. I wasn't expecting this. Wasn't expecting as Bitcoin is dropping. These are making little top formations and breaking their RSI trend lines. I wasn't expecting actually. Same thing here, little wee 1, 2, 3 top formation. This is a trend line in the RSI. So this has already broken the top formation and pulled back while Bitcoin is pulling back. Wow. This is early in the morning. You got to stay sharp. Ripple is also making a consolidation pattern here. So we'll do a live stream later today on the other channel, and I'll go into depth and detail on these 6 markets and any other altcoins that you want me to go over. Later in the afternoon, we'll also take a quick gander at Bitcoin to see what has unfolded from this top formation throughout the day. But that's over on my other channel, Intro to Cryptos. The way to get to that is, well, be in our Discord chat, because that's where you get all the notifications. Sometimes YouTube doesn't send out the notifications on a timely basis for these live streams. But if you're in our Discord chat, you will get those notifications. Boom. Thank you, 2012 Reggae Man, for the like. I'm still dancing for a subscribe while we're on the stream. Our newest subscriber is Paolo Natalie, yeah. And I want to say a big thank you to you guys for showing up. There are so many great streams out there. I hope I'm providing something that is unique content, that is helpful for you, and not just marketing hype that is clickbait to bring you in to see something that really isn't that remarkable. Every single day we go over the same thing. We look at the same indicators, we go from time frame to time frame, and I hope we're reflecting against a very specific trading plan that you can go and download from the website. So I hope all of these things put together not only help you, but I think it really is helpful for me and everybody who's been taking my course over the years. It's all a case study that we're practicing, right? It's a practice, it's not an event. It's always changing. There's always something new and different that we have to pay attention to. And if I have a bias, I want you guys to know my trading system well enough that you can set a message in the chat saying, wait a second now, you are going against your own trading plan. Though that would be awesome. I love it when somebody in the chat brings up something that wakes me up against my own biases, because I have them. And sometimes I put my own bias into the chart reading. And the more you know my trading plan, the more you can help me out, the more you can ask questions, the more everybody in our chat is being successful with this strategy. Something that's a little bit slower paced, longer term, more diversified approach to getting into the alts and getting out of the alts at the right time. My goal is to manage a very much larger portfolio than I'm currently doing. And so I practice it as though I'm managing $10 million. It will one day become the way it is. How can I find my Discord? That is a good question. Let me grab it here for you. Join our Discord chat through this link. Boom. Smash up the like. Crush it. Push it hard. On the edge. My content is great. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Smash up the likes, guys. Well, that about wraps it up for now. I will talk about this for the rest of the day over on our Discord chat. We'll be doing screenshots of this. We'll go over these indicators. If there's something that changes after I do the live stream, that's where you're going to find it. All of it against the trading plan that we're practicing. Super grateful to have you guys along. Good morning and good luck with all of your trading today. I hope it really kicks butt for us. Now, I'm going to jump back into these altcoins because it's my turn to go and update the Patron Bull Market Watch spreadsheet. So I've got to go through all of these alts and give a color coding to everything on Poloniex here before yoga starts. And I'm out of time. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you on the next live stream. Cheers. Bye for now.